Jennifer Lawrence is counting her lucky stars after opening up about the terrifying moment she thought she was going to die in a plane crash after her plane was forced to make an emergency landing. Let's get into this. While many dream to live the lavish lifestyle Jennifer Lawrence does, apparently the grass might be greener on the other side, as she recently opened up about an experience that was basically out of a nightmare. While gracing the cover of Vanity Fair's December edition, ahead of the release of her anticipated comedy film Don't Look Up, Jennifer detailed a time she was convinced she was going to die after a private plane she was flying on entered double engine failure. As one of just 2 passengers on the plane, including the son of the doctor who delivered both her and her brothers, Jen began her story by joking, in typical Jennifer Lawrence fashion, that flying private meant I deserve to die. She then got real about her experience after boarding a flight from her hometown of Louisville, Kentucky to New York City when the passengers were told the plane would be attempting to make an emergency landing in Buffalo. Jennifer recalled, "My skeleton was all that was left in my seat. We were all just going to die," adding, "I started leaving little mental voicemails to my family. I've had a great life. I'm sorry." She then went on to explain why she felt the need to apologize to her family, saying, "I just felt guilty. Everybody was going to be bummed. And oh God, my dog Pippi was on my lap. That was the worst part. Here's this little thing who didn't ask to be part of any of this." It was at that time, and just as she began to get a clear sight of the runway that was lined with fire trucks and ambulances, Jen recalled the only thing she felt she could do was pray. She said, "I started praying, not to the specific God I grew up with because he was terrifying and a very judgmental guy, but I thought, oh my God, maybe we'll survive this?" Now that Jen is married to her husband Cook Maroney and the couple is expecting their first child together, she clearly knew she had much bigger things to live for other than herself, like her hair for instance. While speaking to said higher power, Jen thought that in order to live, I'll be a burn victim. This will be painful, but maybe we'll live. Adding in a joking manner, "Please, Lord Jesus, let me keep my hair. Wrap me in your hair-loving arms. Please don't let me go bald." Thankfully, the plane landed and everyone on board was unharmed. However, she did have to immediately board another plane, with reinforcements of course, aka in Jen's words, a very large pill and several mini bottles of rum. While this isn't the first time Jen has shared details about her life experiences, don't expect her to be as open about her pregnancy. Jen is set on protecting the private lives of her growing family, especially after falling victim to a nude photo leak back in 2014, along with many other celebrities, in which she constantly looks back on that time, telling the magazine, "My trauma will exist forever." That said, she won't turn down sharing about her pregnancy if she was confronted at a dinner party, for example, saying, "I wouldn't be like, God, I can't talk about that. Get away from me, you psycho. But every instinct in my body wants to protect their privacy for the rest of their lives as much as I can." Same goes for her husband Cook, whom she did share one small detail about their life to the outlet, saying, "I really enjoy going to the grocery store with him. I don't know why, but it fills me with a lot of joy. I think maybe because it's almost a metaphor for marriage. Okay, we've got this list. Here are the things we need. Let's work together and get this done." Over the past 2 years, Jen has actively stepped away from the spotlight after feeling as though her presence wasn't appreciated anymore, saying, "I just think everybody had gotten sick of me. I'd gotten sick of me. It had just gotten to a point where I couldn't do anything right." She admitted she felt as though she had been people-pleasing for the majority of her life, with work being a place where people couldn't get mad at her, until that all changed. Jen confessed, "Then I felt like I reached a point where people were not pleased just by my existence. So that kind of shook me out of thinking that work or your career can bring any kind of peace to your soul." Don't Look Up, which also stars Leonardo DiCaprio and Meryl Streep, is Jen's first movie in 2 years, and it's safe to say we are anything but displeased with her upcoming role. Don't Look Up hits select theaters on December 10th before it's available to stream on Netflix beginning December 24th. To see what Jen had to say about filming her upcoming movie with Ariana Grande, click right over here for another clever news video. Then let me know all your thoughts about this very scary experience in the comments down below. For now, I'm your host, Carly Henderson. You can find me on social media at carlyhenderson_, and I hope you have a good day.